Welcome to First Down Punts, a show about the on-field and off-the-field news in the world of pro football, as well as how it relates to fantasy football all season long. Thanks for joining in, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And welcome in, everyone, to another episode of First Down Punts. I'm your host, Coach Chris. Today, we're going to be going over the AFC schedule review and record predictions. Before we do that, let's get into a few things to note in the NFL news. It has come out that there's a whole collusion about the collusion when it comes to paying guaranteed contracts ever since the Deshaun Watson. It seems to be that's why Lamar didn't get offered a fully guaranteed contract, along with a handful of other quarterbacks to this point. And it seems there was some collusion between some people in the NFLPA and the NFL owners, but waiting for more details to come out before there's any accusations. It just seems a lot of fishy business going on. And at the end of the day, it's going to cost somebody some money if it comes out that there is collusion, because there will be a lawsuit. So I don't think any of us will be shocked by that, being that we already probably believe the NFL owners collude on a lot of things, but just something that it's interesting to come out and waiting to find out more information. Until then, we'll put it aside and see what happens. The other thing of note, Najee Harris had an eye injury. And being that we're going over to AFC West, it seems like every time I do something with a division, something goes on with one of the teams. First, it was the AFC East when it comes to Pittsburgh and Rodgers signing, right? The day I think I recorded it, or the day right before I was recording it or something like that. Now here I am doing AFC West, and Najee gets an eye injury. I was just working on NFC South a little bit ago, and Tristan Wirfs comes out with an injury that he's going to be on the PUP list. So just some things of note that be paying attention to when it comes to fantasy football and when it comes to real football. As far as left tackles go, they're one of the most important positions on the field. So other than that, guys, we're going to get into this. We're going to kick it off with the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending division champ and AFC conference champ, although they did lose in the Super Bowl. They went 15-2. They've had some losses on defense, some swaps on the offensive line, along with the steal in the draft of Josh Simmons, at least one of them. A couple others, Malachi Starks, the Eagles getting Jahad Campbell. Those last few picks at the end of the first round were just complete steals in my mind. So Chiefs are the benefit of one of those, getting Simmons. And their offensive line should definitely be improved with that and the guard/tackle they signed from San Fran. But we're going to kick this off week 1 versus the Chargers, a division game. This is a Friday night game for week 1. They got the Thursday night. Now we're doing the Friday night again. I have the Chiefs winning this game to kick off the season. I think they're just the veteran team. They know what they're doing. The Chargers are still learning their parts, and maybe Najee doesn't play week 1. It's all on Amari and Hampton. And I'm still waiting to see who steps up as receivers for the Chargers. So we'll see what happens with that. But I got the Chiefs starting off 1-0. Week 2 is versus Philly, the rematch of the Super Bowl. It's at home versus Philly. I got the Chiefs winning this one as well. I think they get their revenge in the regular season, even though they can't make up for that loss in the Super Bowl because that was atrocious. Week 3 at the Giants on Sunday Night Football, which I'm surprised the Giants are even got a primetime game, but it's versus the Chiefs, so it makes sense. And I got the Chiefs winning this. So they start off 3-0. Week 4 versus Baltimore at home. I got the Ravens winning this and the Chiefs taking their first loss, so they're 3-1 now. Week 5 at Jacksonville. I got the Chiefs winning that. I don't think the Jags are good enough to stop the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs aren't doing what they used to do, is putting up 30 points. I do think the Chiefs are going to have a bounce back year offensively. I know they've been down the last couple of years, people upset in fantasy. They're still winning games. They're going to Super Bowls, guys. The Chiefs don't care how we feel about fantasy. But with Xavier Worthy coming on strong like he did last year, Rashee Rice supposedly healthy, Pacheco healthy. These guys are part of the offensive line improvements. Kelsey losing 25 pounds up to this point, it's going to help him when it comes to moving around. It's not going to help him with strength on bodying guys, but it's definitely going to help him with his speed that you could tell towards the end of last season he had lost a step. And maybe that was the weight he put on. Maybe that was just Father Time. I personally think that if he's playing thinner, he's going to be more like his old self. Not necessarily the level he was at when he was at his peak, but definitely looking better than he did at the end of last season. So Versus Jacksonville, like I said, or at Jacksonville, they're at the Jags. I got them winning that Week 6 versus Detroit on Monday Night Football, or I'm sorry, Sunday Night Football. I have them winning this game, which I don't like saying as a Lions fan, but I do think just in this position in the season right now between both teams, Chiefs are rolling. Detroit's getting some guys back that are hurt. Aleem McNeil's trying to figure out their offensive line. This is definitely a game I could see the Lions losing and the Chiefs winning. So right now they're 5-1 versus Las Vegas in Week 7. That is a win for the Chiefs. The Vegas Raiders always play the Chiefs tough. I don't care what their regular season record is. The Raiders play the Chiefs tough. It was just a division game. But I do have the Chiefs winning the one at home. Week 8 versus Washington. This is a Monday Night Football game. This was a hard one to decide, mainly because I think Washington is going to be good this year. I think the Chiefs are going to be good. I think the Chiefs are probably a little bit better offensively, and that's what's going to tap this out. This could probably be a high fantasy scoring game for players. I definitely think this could be a high-scoring affair. Even though Dan Quinn's got a good defense going over there, they still need to add some pieces of that defense for it to be complete. And the Chiefs still have a top 5 defense, top 7 at worst, even with the losses because of the additions they did get. The kid from the Chargers that I like a lot, just the drafts. They did some things that their team's going to be solid. They're going to be competing for the playoffs and another championship probably. Maybe not necessarily making it to the Super Bowl, but definitely in contention. So Week 9 at Buffalo. This is a big game. You know, Buffalo usually gets them in the regular season, and Chiefs end up winning in the postseason. But I got Buffalo losing this one, and the Chiefs taking this game. So right now, the Chiefs are 8-1 going into their bye week in Week 10. Coming out of the bye, Week 11 at Denver. This is a loss for the Chiefs. Even with 2 weeks to prepare, and I know Andy Reid's record coming out of the bye and all that other stuff, I just think the Broncos are legit this year, man. And I think they're going to be a tough out for every team that plays them. And I think they have a chance to compete for the division championship here in the AFC West. So I got the Broncos winning the first meeting between the Chiefs and Denver. Week 12 versus Indianapolis. Colts aren't coming into KC and beating the Chiefs. Maybe if it's at home, they could sneak out one of those tough games like they've played against the Chiefs in years past. But when I can't trust who your quarterback even is right now, I definitely can't see you coming into KC into Arrowhead and winning a game, especially when the Chiefs are trying to lock up another chance to go to a Super Bowl later in the season. Yeah, that's not happening. Week 13 at Dallas. The Cowboys are a good team. I shouldn't say they're a good team. They got a lot of talent and have the potential to be a good team. But I got the Chiefs winning this game simply because I think the Chiefs are the better team. That's all there is to it. Week 14 versus Houston. Sunday Night Football. I think this could be another high-scoring affair like that Washington game. I think this is a game that we could see a lot of points scored, but one that I got the Chiefs winning at the end. Moving to, what is this now? 11-2. So they're 11-2 right now. Definitely got a chance to lock up the division over the next few weeks if the Broncos falter or if they don't falter. But coming into Week 15 versus the Chargers, played in Week 1, they got the win. Chargers in a much better spot now. They're much better in rhythm. Young wide receivers are maybe taking a step up. Conklin, Aronde Gadsden, tight ends are helping out. Definitely something that could happen. And I got the Chargers winning this game. The Chiefs taking a loss, and now they're 11-3. Week 16 at Tennessee. Cam Ward, the rookie. I think Tennessee's going to put up some points on the board this year. I just don't trust their defense to be able to stop good teams. And I just don't see a lot of competition in the AFC South other than Houston for the better teams in the league. Chiefs win that one, move to 12-3. On to Week 17 versus Denver. Thursday Night Football at home. I got the Broncos sweeping them, man. I got the Broncos taking this game, Week 17. Chiefs fall to 12-4. Broncos sweep the series for the regular season. Moving on to Week 18 at Las Vegas. As I said, the Raiders always play them tough. I got the Chiefs losing this game too. Now, maybe it's because they think they got the division lined up. Maybe it's because they sat some guys. Maybe it's because the Raiders are just going to be a tough out for everybody this year. I think the Raiders are much improved. Whether that shows in their record is one thing, but competitiveness-wise, I definitely think the Raiders are going to be a competitive team all season long with the addition of Geno and Genty. Bowers is still there, the defensive improvements. They're going to be a tougher team to beat this year. And the Chiefs don't get it done in Week 18. So I got them finishing 12-5 and 2-4 in the division, surprisingly, simply because the Broncos swept them. Definitely a chance to win the division at 12-5. Definitely a chance to have at least a 2 or 3 seed in the conference. But right now, Chiefs go 12-5, 2-4 in the division, though. Tough division. The LA Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers. Last year they finished 11-6. They lost to the Texans in the first round. As I said, the Texans are a good team. Even with all the injuries they had last year, they still won a playoff game. But last year they go 11-6. Got Herbert, got Harbaugh, additions of Hampton and Najee, even though with the eye injury we mentioned. Definitely an improved team. But the record and the schedule may not show that. So we're going to get into it. Week 1 versus the Chiefs. We already said this is the Friday night game. This is a loss starting off 0-1. Week 2 at Las Vegas. Monday Night Football. I got them winning this game. Even though, like I said, I think the Raiders are going to be a tough out. Chargers don't want to start 0-2. Harbaugh doesn't want to start 0-2. The defense is good. Although they did lose some parts. I'm waiting to see if they re-sign Asante Samuel Jr. still. I still can't believe this guy's on the market. So the fact that he's out there, he could end up back with the Chargers. Maybe that affects their schedule because he's a good player, man. And the fact that he's not on a team is surprising to me. But all the same, at Vegas, they get that win. Week 3 versus Denver. I got them winning this game. Now, I told you I like the Broncos a lot this year, but I think the AFC West is a very good division this year. I think they're going to be one of the most competitive divisions in the league, along with the NFC North, the AFC. With the Browns, it's hard to say the AFC East, but just definitely some divisions are going to be a hell of a lot tougher than others. That's for sure. So week 3 versus Denver, they get a win. They start off 2-1. Week 4 at the Giants. This is a win for the Chargers. I don't see, even though we're going to East Coast, West Coast to East Coast is always hard. The Giants pass rush could get to them, but I just don't feel like they can score enough points, even with the improvement with Russell Wilson or Jameis, Jackson Dart, whoever they want to play out there. The Chargers are the better team. And it's hard for me to see the Giants getting a lot of wins this year, especially versus the better teams. So Chargers start 3-1, man. Week 5 versus Washington. Commanders coming in to the West Coast. I got Washington getting a win. Chargers take a loss. Simply because the running quarterback is a dangerous thing, man. Herbert is mobile. He's not as mobile as Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels is great at just taking what the defense gives him. He understands that pressure, understands a 5-yard route is as good as a 50 as long as I'm not taking a sack, fumble, or throwing a pick. Gaining yards is what you want to do every play. Jaden Daniels has done that better than most rookies I've ever seen, man. And Washington's got a real one over there. And they got a win here against the Chargers. Week 6 at Miami. This is a win for the Chargers. Even though they're going to the East Coast, this is a game that was a little bit tougher for me to choose simply because if Miami is back to what they were doing a couple years ago, Miami's going to be a hard out. But they've had their issues against teams above 500. Right now, the Chargers are above 500. And they're a good team, man. So I don't think Miami can pull this one out, even at home. Chargers get the win. They're 4-2. Week 7 versus Indy. Now, you want to talk about two teams that have some history. The Chargers versus the Colts is a very long. Peyton Manning lost to the Chargers numerous times in the playoffs, numerous times in the regular season. Now, this is 12, 14 years ago, whatever. But all the same, they definitely have some history when it comes to games. And it's always an interesting game when it happens. But I do think the Chargers are the better team. I think they got a better quarterback, better receiver, better running back. Well, I don't know. Jonathan Taylor's a stud, but all the same, definitely better running game, just the way they call it. So, week 8 versus Minnesota, Thursday night. Is this Thursday night? Yeah, Thursday night football. I got them taking a loss here. Couple wins, Miami, Indy. They're coming in feeling good, underestimating the Vikings, and Justin Jefferson is still capable of taking over a game, man. If J.J. McCarthy is good at all, if he has any pro-level skill, Minnesota can score points, and they're going to be dangerous. So, at the end of the day, Minnesota gets this win. Chargers dropped to 5-3. Going on to week 9 at Tennessee. I got them getting a win there versus the rookie. I know, like I said, like I talked about Tennessee with the Chiefs and every other thing. Tennessee's going to be able to score some points. I don't know how many people are going to be able to stop. I have questions about that defense. Even with their defensive line, they need a lot on defense. Some improvements have to be made. Maybe they sign Asante Samuel Jr. and it changes how I feel about their team. But definitely some improvements could be made there. And they're going to be a team that is competitive, but I don't think they win a ton of games. So Chargers get another win there. Week 10 versus Pittsburgh, Sunday Night Football at home. I don't see. I mean, this is a game the Steelers could win, but I got the Chargers winning this one simply for the fact that they're at home. They know they got to keep pace with the Broncos and the Chiefs in the division, maybe even the Raiders at this point. We'll get to that when we see what their record's looking like. But I don't think like I said, I had Pittsburgh going. I think it was 7-10. I'm pretty sure it was 7-10 or 8-9, one of the two. Even with the addition of Rodgers, even with Metcalf, I think they'll be good for fantasy, that combo. I don't know how good it'll be for wins. So Chargers get another win. Moving on to week 11 at Jacksonville, another East Coast trip. This one cost them. They trip up here against a team that could score some points, has some improvements on defense, but new head coach, you don't know what to expect from him. I mean, we know what he did with Tampa Bay as OC and with Seattle as OC. But for him to be a new head coach, he could definitely pull some tricks out of his sleeve and shock the Chargers here and get a win with Jacksonville. And by this time, Lawrence and Hunter and BTJ and the running backs, they should all know what's going on. Brenton Strange, whether he's an asset or not, we'll find out. But they should have their offense intact and running forward right now and have a chance to make some ground up down the end of the season for Jacksonville. But we'll get to that when we get to the AFC South. Week 12, they got their bye week. Nice late breather for a team that knows what they're doing. This is fine having a late bye for a team like this. They don't need to regroup early. They know how to play football. They know what they're expected. Nobody's new here other than the running backs. And running back's the easiest position to transition from team to team or college to pros. Not that everybody could take the beating. We see that. But just the fact of learning, off tackle, off guard, this shit's all pretty simple. It's about language. These guys are going to have that down. I'm not worried about their running backs not knowing what's going on by week 13, week 14 here. So, week 13, like I said, versus Las Vegas. I got them taking a loss here, though, versus the Raiders. As I said, they're a tough out. And coming off a bye, off a loss, you'd like them to see you get a win here. It's possible this game could end up being a win, but I got the Raiders being tough, man, and getting a win, splitting here with the Chargers on the season. Week 14 versus Philly, Monday Night Football. Philly's going to be looking to win the division. Chargers are trying to win the division, getting off this little skid they're on, but Philly gets the win here versus the Chargers. So the Chargers lose 3 in a row. Week 15 at Kansas City. They got to get back on a winning streak or at least get a couple more wins here to try to have a chance at the division. They get one here versus the Chiefs, pull one out, like I just said, with the Chiefs record, and go in Arrowhead and steal a win late in the season, which is impressive. Week 16 at Dallas. I got the Cowboys getting a win here. The Chargers taking a loss. They got a lot of road games, man. They got to travel, and not that they're always the toughest games that they're traveling to. Dallas is probably the toughest team they're going to actually go to other than their division opponents. But Dallas is going to be able to score points. Chargers, you see them, they stumble every now and again, and this is definitely a game I could see them stumbling in and Dallas getting a win. So Week 17 versus Houston. I think these two teams are very similar. Young, good quarterbacks, good talent around them. The Chargers got a little less talent at receiver than the Houston does right now, but Chargers got a lot better offensive line than Houston. So I got the Chargers getting the win, Houston taking the loss. Moving into Week 18 at Denver, going 2 Mile High. It's probably snowing there. I got the Chargers taking a loss, man. And I hate to say that because I wanted the Chargers to have a better record than they finished with, which overall they finished 9-8. They finished 3 in the division, and good chance they're missing the playoffs, barring terrible records by some other conferences. We'll see what happens with tiebreakers and all that once I get into all the final records and all the playoff seedings and everything that. But I don't know if the Chargers are going to make the playoffs at 9-8. So a year after making the playoffs, they're going to miss the playoffs right now. Now, in all honesty, I think the Chargers could finish 12-5. But I think that it's going to take pulling out some tough games and not slipping up on on certain games that I got them losing here. You can't go to where do I have them going? You can't go to Jacksonville and lose if you want to be a playoff team. I have them losing to Jacksonville. You can't lose that game to Minnesota on Thursday Night Football, but Minnesota can shock people with that scoring capability with the offense they have. So it's definitely something that I could see a different record going. I could see him taking both games against the Raiders. I could definitely see him losing both games against the Raiders. And that's why I was just trying to figure out where I wanted to put each win and loss for them. But like I said, at the end, they're 9-8. They go 3-3 in the division. We move on to the Las Vegas Raiders. Speaking of Raiders, we are going to start with last year they went 4-3, or 4-3, 4-13, no playoffs, new head coach, new quarterback, new running back, new overhaul. Somebody might have got a facelift in this thing because they made a lot of changes. New OC with Chip Kelly, new head coach Pete Carroll, Geno's there. They made a lot of changes, and that could end up being proven helpful or hurtful with just the transition to make the change. So let's get into it. See how they start off. See how they finish. Week 1 at New England. I got the Raiders going in New England getting a win in Week 1. Simply because I think Geno's a pro, man, and I think the Patriots are going to be improved. I think these are both teams in similar spots, trying to take a step forward, trying to come off a losing record, a tough season, bounce back, start the season off right. I just think the Seahawks have the more talent, and that's just the end of it. The Seahawks. I just think the Raiders have more talent when it comes to offensive weapons, even with the additions of Diggs and Ryan Williams, who I do like, and Travion Henderson, who I absolutely love. You guys know this if you watch any of my draft coverage or fantasy running back stuff, but I love Travion Henderson. I think he's a true weapon. But I think it's going to take time for New England to get going and get into a rhythm. Same as the Raiders. This is why this game could go either way, but I gave it to the Raiders to start 1-0. Week 2 versus the Chargers, like we just said with the Chargers schedule. This is a loss on Monday Night Football. Week 3 at Washington, going out to Washington against a good team. Was an NFC conference conference championship game last year. I definitely think this is a game that is going to be a tough game for the Raiders to pull out, and I got Washington winning. Week 4 versus Chicago. Now, this was a tougher game for me to choose because Max Crosby can get a hold of Caleb Williams. It's over for the Bears. But if the offensive line improvements, the new head coach with Ben Johnson, new offense that they're running, they can get that clicking quick, coming into the season strong. Week 4 here, I got the Bears getting a win, Raiders taking a loss, but it's definitely a game I could see going either way. Week 5 at Indianapolis, this is a win for the Raiders. Again, I don't trust the Colts quarterback situation. Shane Steichen's pissed me off for the last 2 years with his play calling. I think he's a great OC, being a head coach and handling all this stuff, or just what they decide to do, how they've handled the Anthony Richardson thing. It's just all been piss poor in my mind. And I don't see Steichen making it after the season. Whether he gets fired in the season, that's one thing, but I don't see them continuing to be together, barring an unforeseen winning record. So Colts take the loss, Raiders get the win. They're 2-3, moving to Week 6 versus Tennessee at home. That's a game I got the Raiders winning. These are two teams, like I said, they're going to be competing, but they're going to pull out wins and lose games here and there just based off. They got to get more in rhythm, man. Chemistry, you hear people talk about all the time. Chemistry with the receivers, chemistry with the tight end, running backs, offensive line chemistry. All those things matter in football, guys. It's not just coach speak. It's true. It matters in all sports. Basketball, 5 guys got to be working together out there. Football, it's 11 guys got to be working together out there. It's just the facts. And you're going to see teams who can get it together this week and can't get it together next week. Tennessee's going to be one of those teams. Raiders are definitely going to be one of those teams. But I got the Raiders winning this one, moving to 3-3. Week 7 at Kansas City, as we talked about with the Chiefs. This is a loss for the Raiders, even though I think it's going to be a tough game. I do have the Raiders losing. Going into Week 8 bye, coming out of the bye, they're versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville's playing a lot of teams off the bye, it seems like, which is never easy. But versus Jacksonville, I got the Raiders getting a win at home. Trevor Lawrence going on the road, new parts. They're still working that out. I mean, it's Week 8 by now, Week 9. So you'd hope they have this all figured out by now. But at the end of the day, I think the Raiders at home with Crosby, with the defensive improvements, with the offensive improvements, new head coach knows how to handle himself. Raiders get a win here versus Jacksonville. Week 10 at Denver, Thursday night football, coming off a big win. I got the Broncos taking this one. Broncos win, Raiders lose. Week 11 versus Dallas, Monday night football. I got the Raiders still in this game in Dallas. Or I'm sorry, still in this game in Las Vegas on Monday night football. I think Dallas should win this game. I think this is a game that Dallas drops because they're known to drop games that they should lose or that they should win and they lose. New head coach there trying to figure it out with Schottenheimer. New parts with running back. What's the running game going to be like with Williams, Miles Sanders, and Jaden Blue? How much of an impact is Pickens going to have? These are all questions they got to figure out. But Dallas is going to win some, lose some. They're going to be a competitive team. I could definitely see them with a winning record. But this one, I got them losing, and the Raiders getting a win. Week 12 versus Cleveland. At home, I got this as a win. Shador is probably starting by now. Raiders are in a rhythm right now, trying to get some wins, trying to compete, trying to see if things still a wild card spot. And getting a win over Cleveland will not be a big surprise to me. Week 13 at the Chargers, as I just talked about with the Chargers, this is a win for the Raiders. Chargers took week 2, Raiders take week 12 or week 13. Week 14 versus Denver. This is another loss versus Denver, though. Denver sweeps them and the Chiefs this year and has a 5-1 record. Or what is it? I forget what the Broncos record was. I'm going to have to look at that. I take it back. I don't think they swept both teams. I'm just over here talking on my ass. But all the same, Broncos get the sweep over the Raiders here, and we move into week 15 at Philly. I don't see the Raiders going to Philly and winning this. Obviously, Chip Kelly would love to have some revenge. I don't think he's got the horses to run with Philly. So Philly takes the win. Raiders drop a game. Moving into week 16. Moving into week 16 at Houston. I got Houston winning this game. Raiders taking a loss. I just think that Houston defense, C.J. Stroud and those offensive weapons, they're just too much for the Raiders to handle this game. Week 17 versus the Giants. This is a win for the Raiders. I told you I don't think the Giants are winning many games this year, and I think the Raiders are going to be competitive, and they're going to pull out games against teams like the Giants. So week 18 versus KC, as we just talked about with the Chiefs record, this is a win for the Raiders. Raiders finished 4-13 last year. I got them going 9-8 and tying the Chargers this year. 2-4 in the division, though. They got swept by the Broncos. That's never easy. So split with KC and the Chargers. Swept by the Broncos. They end up 2-4. And we move on to the Broncos, speaking of them. Last year, Broncos went 10-7. 3 teams in the AFC West made the playoffs last year. The Raiders were the only ones that didn't. They lost to the Bills in the first round, which doesn't surprise anybody. I don't think Bills were a Super Bowl contender last year. The Broncos were a team that probably overachieved a little bit last year. But I like the Broncos a lot this year, like I said, and we're going to get into their schedule here, tell you how I feel about what they're winning and losing. Week 1 versus Tennessee, Cam Ward's not ready for this defense. That's all there is to it. The defense, the Broncos have a top 5 defense, probably a top 3 defense. They might be the number 1 defense overall with the losses that Philly had. So we'll find out as the season goes on, but Cam Ward's not going to be ready for this defense. Week 2 at Indy, same thing. Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, you guys don't stand a chance against this defense, man. Those DBs, linebackers, defensive line, they got it stacked up in Denver right now, man. And this is why I like them so much. Their run game, Sean Payton is the head coach, Bo Nix, what he showed us last year, and that defense is fucking unbelievable. Week 3 at the Chargers. I do have them taking a loss here at LA, and like we talked about with the Chargers record. So Denver starts 2-1. Week 4 versus Cincinnati, Monday Night Football. Now, this is one of those games that if Cincinnati had any lick of defense, they could compete and win this game. Being that they don't, and they still don't have their Hendrickson signed, they still don't have their first 2-round rookies with Shamar Stewart and Knight Jr., the linebacker. Neither one of them are in camp right now that I know about. Neither one of them are getting paid right now. And Cincinnati's in shambles on defense. So as much as I love watching Joe Burrow and those wide receivers run down the field, you got to be able to stop somebody too. I don't think that's going to happen here. I think Denver has the defense to play defense against the Cincinnati offense. And it's probably going to be one of those down games for Burrow in the offense. So Broncos are 3-1, moving into week 5 at Philly. I just talked about these two defenses. This is a defense that, like I said, I think the Broncos could be the number 1 defense in the league this year. And I have them beating Philly in week 5 to start 4-1. Be a shocker somewhat, but with the offensive capabilities, if any of those receivers step up a little bit, Marvin Mims takes a little bit more of a step, gets to that Jameson Williams type level was a year and a half ago, where he's like, you can count on me for big plays all the time. That's all you really need from Mims, because with Cortland Sutton and Evan Ingram, those running backs, it's going to be impressive, man, to watch. Bo Nix should take another step forward, and they go in Philly and get the win. Week 6 versus the Jets. This is one of the overseas games. So I don't remember which city it's in. I didn't write all that down. I just know it's an overseas game because it's a 9 a.m. game. But this is a loss. I got the Jets stealing a win here. Justin Fields gets a little loose, gets a little running and one wild. Maybe Garrett Wilson catches a couple bombs. It's definitely a game that I think could be, with the Jets defense, this is one of those games that the Broncos are like, oh, we shouldn't have lost that. But the overseas trip from the West Coast, playing against the Jets, who have a mobile quarterback, are going to have a really good run game this year. I promise you that. I'm telling you right now, the Jets' run game is going to be impeccable, man. And they can control the clock, control the ball, and with that defense, they can compete with Denver. So I got the Jets winning this game, sneaking one out. Week 7 versus the Giants. That's a laughingstock if you think the Giants can beat the Broncos. We'll move on. Week 8 versus Dallas. I got a win here for the Broncos as well. Like I said, Dallas is going to be able to score some points this year, but they're also, with a lack of a running game, I just don't trust what they're doing in the running game right now. I don't think they'll be able to sustain drives against that Denver defense, and therefore, if it's not Pickett's and CeeDee Lamb going crazy, it's going to be real hard. And against those DBs that Denver has, it's going to be real hard. So Dallas takes a loss. Broncos get a win. They're now 6-2. What is it, 6-2 now? Yes. Week 8 at Houston. As I said, I think Houston's going to be a good team. This is one of these games comes down to the wire. It's a game that could go either way. It was a tough choice for me who to pick here, but I have Houston getting the win and Broncos taking a loss. This could go the other way, obviously. But they're both young teams that have really good weapons, really good defenses, and it's like I said, I think this game is going to come down to the wire. It could be a 24-21, 27-24 game. I don't think it's going to be some 30-point game for each team. I think those defenses can contain a lot of what both of these teams want to do. So week 10 versus Las Vegas. So I got this as a win for the Broncos on Thursday Night Football. Week 11 versus Kansas City, as we talked about before. In the Chiefs record, Kansas City, this is a win for the Broncos. I think they get that at home in the Mile High, come in there. Those DBs, man. Those DBs and that defensive line pressure is impressive. Nick Bonito running around like a madman. I just love what Denver's doing on defense. After that, they got their Week 12 bye, which you'd like this a couple weeks earlier for a team as young that's got the youth that they do. But if they're rolling, man, it's good not to stop. It's good to keep going. So coming off a big win against Kansas City, they get a little breather here. They come back to Week 13 at Washington on Sunday Night Football. This is a game I got the Broncos winning. As much as I like what Washington's doing, I am enamored with Denver's defense. I'm going to keep saying it. And I think what they can do on defense makes them a Super Bowl contender, period, with the offense they have. Week 14 at Las Vegas. This is a win. They swept the Raiders. I don't know what to tell you. That's just the way it is. They swept the Raiders. Like I said, Raiders are going to be competitive, but against this team, I just think the Broncos are the better team, period. Week 15 versus Green Bay at home. Packers coming, late season game, going to Mile High. The Packers, they're another one of those teams, man. They're going to be competitive. I just don't trust how many games they can win. And this is a game I got them losing. Broncos winning. Week 16 versus Jacksonville. This is a win. Trevor Lawrence is going to have a hard time going against his defense. Bo Nix is not going to have a hard time. R.J. Harvey, who I told you, reminds me of Brian Westbrook. If you know who that is, you understand how good he was. And I think R.J. Harvey, by this time, is in full rhythm, man. Fully taking over the backfield. I'm sure they're still going to use a guy here and there. They got Dobbins, but who knows if he's even healthy at this point. And this is going to be the R.J. Harvey show. Week 17 at Kansas City, Thursday Night Football. This is a win. I got them sweeping the Chiefs. Some Chiefs fans can be sad about that. They can disagree with it. I just think the Broncos are a really good team. And if you can sweep the Chiefs, you can win the division. And that's what it's going to take for the Broncos to win the division. So week 18, big win, 4-game, 5-game, 6-game win streak with the bye included in there. Coming into week 18, they're sitting high. They're riding high. They're loving every minute of it. And the Chargers come in here and steal a win at the end of the season. Chargers are trying to compete, maybe still a wild card spot. Broncos are falling asleep here. They think they got the division locked up. They take that loss. So I got the Broncos going 12-5 overall and 5-1. Oh no, 4-2 in the division, and winning the AFC West because of the division record. The Chiefs went 12-5, but were 3-3. The other two teams only went 9-8. They weren't in contention at the end. So the Broncos are the AFC West champs. The Chiefs will probably end up being the 5 seed with that 12-5 record, unless somebody else can finish number 2 in one of the other AFC divisions. But like I told you guys, man, I'm very high on what the Broncos could do this year. I think the excitement around them is real, and the additions of Dobbins and Harvey to that backfield, Mims taking a step up, Sutton still being there, them signing Ingram, Bo Nix, his running capability and passing capability. And that defense is so damn impressive. So, at the end of the day, Broncos win the division. Like I said, 12-5, 4-2 in the division. Chiefs are at number 2 at 12-5 and 2-4 in the division. Chargers are 9-8, coming in third at 3-3 in the division. And the Raiders finish up at the basement at 9-8 overall record, but a 2-4 division record. So Chargers won that head-to-head or that tiebreaker there to get the 3 spot, which won't matter because neither one of them will probably be in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel about everything, and we will see you next time. Till next time, I hope you're having a good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time you're watching. I'm out. First down, Punts!